Hello, Art 1. Hopefully we're doing all right with this distance learning thing. I think it's gone well thus far. It's pretty good. I'm impressed with your ability to learn independently. So, as we make our still life, one of our goals is to make it look realistic. To do that, it has to be three-dimensional, right? We have to have form, and we do that by using contour lines, but to really make it pop, to really make it real, we need to add value. So we're going to do a value scale, and then we're going to shade three different forms. The cube is fairly straightforward. It's all flat. Our cylinder, you're going to have to blend from light to dark, dark to light. And the sphere, you're going to blend, but in a curve, which complicates things greatly. This is a pretty basic drawing exercise that you may have done before and you may do again, but it's good. If you want to get good at art, do simple things like this, but do them really, really well. So first, make a scale. If you have a ruler, that's great. If you don't, just use anything with a straight edge. Make them big enough so it's easy to shade them. If you make them micro, it's going to be difficult. And again, although this is a basic exercise, doing it well, really well, mastering these techniques is what is going to build your skill, what is going to give you a really nice still life in the end. Alright, so what we want to do is we want to go light to dark. Try to have at least 7 of these. You can do 8, you could do 9. You can challenge yourself as much as you want. And each one should be darker than the next, which means the first one should be light, very, very light. So notice how I'm holding the pencil. Okay, I'm using just the weight of the pencil. I'm trying not to put any pressure on it because I want this to be as light as possible. And I'm filling in that square as well and evenly as I can. Again, I'm doing these simple things, but I'm doing them well. I'm training my hand, just like if you were shooting 3-pointers, right? We're developing that hand-eye coordination. Again, notice my hand, very relaxed. So I can use layers to make it darker, and I can apply a little bit of pressure, but again, for these first few, it's just the weight of the pencil, maybe a little tiny bit of pressure on the second one. This one you're definitely going to notice, right? We want to make sure they're darker. If they're the same value, that doesn't help. So it's just a 1 shade darker. We want to gain that control to create subtle differences in our work. Alright, so we'll move along. Again, a little darker. Now you can see, you might notice that as I get farther down here, I hold the pencil differently. I'm now applying more pressure to the end of the pencil. And I'm holding it closer to the tip as well. So there you go. Choke up a little bit, a little more pressure from your fingers, and we get a darker value. So take your time. Again, we want to master this technique. And the last one, as dark as you can get, I decided to add a final one. Next, we're going to do our 3 forms. I'm going to start out with a cube. So to get a straight line, we already have a straight line on the paper, don't we? The edge of our paper. So you can line up your straight edge or ruler with that. Come on, there we go. So line it up with the paper to get a nice vertical line. Horizontal, again, get it as straight as you can. We have this line here that we can work from. Horizontal. So we start with a square. And then you're going to start on each corner and just slide it back. Go back. There's no perfect angle. Slide it over to keep the same angle. slide it down, keep the same angle, and then just connect those. Again, vertical, slide it back, get that vertical we already have. Get your horizontal, keep it the same, slide it back, and boom. There you go, we have our cube. Cylinder, leave a little bit of space. All you need is 2 parallel lines. And then a little half circle. And then 2 more half circles. And our sphere, circles are tough, so we're just gonna grab something circular. Done. We're gonna put shadows in there as well. So decide on a light source. I suggest the upper left-hand corner. You can do the right-hand corner as well. So there's my little sun. And then just take your ruler, go from the light source to the corner, the edge of your cube. Kick that straight out. Same on the other side. It's okay if it hits the next object, not a big deal. And then for the sphere, we're just going to draw a little oval, egg shape. Boom. There we go. All right, now for the shading. Now, the surface nearest the sun on top, that's going to be the lightest. So I want to really relax my hand. Just use the weight of the pencil. And again, just try to get it as even as you can and shade it very thoroughly. So that should be as light as we can get it. Now the next one should be in a middle value. So maybe we look at something in this range. And again, practice this simple thing. Do it well. Turning the paper is easier than turning your hand to get that edge. As much as possible, try to get that same value. And then in the final side, that's going to be the darkest, the one away from the sun. Right? And as long as there are 3 different values, you're good. And then super dark on the shadow. Okay, cylinder is going to be a bit trickier. Well, if you want to, you don't have to go as crazy as I did, but you can really layer. You can darken that shadow. Max pressure. So I'm starting out super light, really relaxed hand, and then I slowly get darker, slowly start putting more pressure. Now here, you're not going to do it going one time through. You're going to have to do this again. So now I'm going to go back. Again, now I'm starting darker, and then I'm going to relax my hand. So let's get this whole dark edge in, and then start working in little sections. Just go back and forth to work it in. And the more times we work this, the more we blend those lines out. If we can, we want a smooth transition where we don't see lines. It's tough to do, but just get as close as you can. Remember, this is practice. This is practice. Do simple things very well. And then finally, that's not bad, huh? Really hammer that edge, right? Super dark. That'll give it a little more form, make it look 3D. And now, pop that shadow in, dark, dark. Now our sphere. This is the tough one. So it's going to go from dark to light in curves. In curves. What I like to do is rotate the paper as I go. And it's going to start out looking not that curvy. I can see lots of straight lines, but I know that I'm going to have to layer this a lot, so I'm not stressed about it. So I'm just kind of rotating my paper, going back and forth. Really curving that. All right, just building up a base. So this is going to be lightest. Now I'm putting in a slightly darker layer. Pressing a little harder. And again, it's not going to be done in one layer. You're going to have to go over this several times. We are learning to control the pressure we apply to the pencil. Now here we go. So I know that's my darkest spot. So let's hammer that. Really put some pressure on the pencil and then relax it as you go out as much as possible. Ooh, I can move me. Ooh, let's get a closer look. All right, and just keep working it, kind of going at different angles. Rotating the paper. Right, and the more you layer it, the closer it gets to being well blended. And ta-da! That's what we're looking for.